it was either extremely taboo and you had to talk about it in secret, and that was like kind of that thing that you would do, or there would be someone that's like overtly immature. So there was no 5 in that.
Like if you are out there watching or listening and your counterpart can't talk about any of these things, that would be a red flag. There's a difference between being playful to be fun versus being a clown to try to avoid anything uncomfortable.
Conscious couples, business partners, and individuals, welcome to the Conscious Couples podcast, where we share our life, love story, and relationship expertise to help you consistently cultivate the most magnificent relationship possible.
Never again will you feel hopeless and alone in your intimate relationship challenges. We'll help you have the courage to be your authentic self, communicate effectively, and constructively resolve conflict.
Having accumulated thousands of hours coaching, speaking, podcasting, and hosting live events with conscious couples all over the world, Alan and I are here to guide you in all things relationships.
Thank you again for tuning into the one place where it's not about you or me, it's about the we. Conscious couples and individuals from all over the world, welcome back to another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. Today we have episode 207, the difference between a childish and an adult relationship. Before we jump into this episode, I want to remind all of you, new opening here today. We are here for one reason and one reason only, to improve your intimate relationship from the inside out. The from the inside out part was Emilia. I liked that a lot. Speaking of that, my love, ladies first, what is your intention for today's episode?
Okay, so my intention for our listeners for today's episode is to have a round table dialogue around ultimately what we have seen as the key markers of a childish relationship, so that our listeners can ultimately distinguish where they're at in the maturity level of their relationship. And the reason being of that, why that's so important for the intention, is because so many relationships find themselves trying to grow together, not apart. But unfortunately, there's patterns of immaturity that they never outgrow. And so that ends up bringing up conflicts in relationships.
Story time. Listeners, everyone think of their first girlfriend or boyfriend.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it was middle school. And it was a hab dance. And Backstreet Boys comes on.
What's a hab dance?
So there's a place called The Habitat where I grew up.
Oh.
And it's basically a giant rec center where you get to play sports. It was awesome.
Oh, so it wasn't like a Cotton Eye Joe kind of... Everyone knows the type of dance?
I mean, we would Cotton Eye Joe, for sure.
But hab dance is not like a Cotton Eye Joe?
No, it's just everyone in my town knew what it was.
Which was actually a place?
Yes.
Okay,
it's called The Habitat.
So we can coordinate that.
It's a rec center where you play sports, and there's huge fields,
Got it.
Basketball, and floor hockey, and all that. So
a blast.
It was awesome.
And then you danced?
Well, so they would have the middle school dances there.
Cute.
And Clarissa was my first girlfriend in 3rd grade.
Watch it.
Nice. That was not a serious relationship. She shared me, I kid you not, with her other friend, Brittany. Mm-hmm. And it's weird to even think about. You know those dances where I remember I'd be playing sports and one of their friends would come up to me and say, "Clarissa's crying." And I would say, "Not again." I'm joking. But I would say, "Why?" And she's like, "You missed a slow song." I used to have a line.
Dare you?
I know. You know the sort of distancing with slow songs. You're not allowed to go too close. And then by high school, it's basically just, rap. So anyways, the point is that was obviously not a mature relationship. Do you want to share anything?
I was going to say, why was that not a mature relationship?
Because I was 7. I honestly don't think I was 7. But I have this written down. Think about your relationships in middle school, if you want to call them that. Now think about your relationships in high school. Now think about your relationships in college. They got a little more serious each time. And if you didn't go to college...
Or high school or middle school.
That's possible too. Again, sweetheart, you're in an interesting mood. We do have a global show, so you never know.
You never know.
But at the end of the day, the traditional path is kindergarten, preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, corporate. And so think about your relationships in corporate. I'm kidding. All right, so real talk. All right, childish versus an adult relationship. We have three things. But first I want story time. What do we got? Did you have any boys crying during the slow dances?
No, but I definitely had a line for sure as well.
Yeah.
That was chasing me.
So there would be a certain number of slow songs during the hab dances, and all I wanted to do was play basketball and play sports.
Interesting that there was like an option to do that. I love that. Your school did that. That's great.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. Hab dances were the best. So I'd be playing football and basketball, and someone would come up and say, Clarissa's crying, or Amy's crying, or whoever.
Yeah.
And I'd say, why? You missed a slow dance. So I would have an order, and so anyways, that's not mature. No. And you shouldn't probably cry because I was playing football. But at the end of the day, I also get that I wasn't super conscientious back then. I was just trying to play tackle a man with the ball and all kinds of sports.
So back then for me, I still to this day am a really great dancer. You and I have never gone dancing before, like dancing.
We dance in our
home though.
Yeah, which is
cute.
Okay.
To that end.
Yep.
Very different experience for me. I was helping to facilitate the dances, like the hab dance, only it was more like Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh, you were like a volunteer?
Not really, but because I had so many, I actually danced, like not professionally, but as like a sport, multiple different dances.
Oh, you did dance?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
But anyways, this isn't about dancing.
Yeah, okay, so.
Why I mention that is because that brings up memories when you talked about middle school, high school, all that stuff. And that was one of the quote unquote dance floors, pun intended, where some of the maturity or immaturity would come out. One of them being, if you were to quote unquote engage in a dance that was very innocent with someone else and you so happened to be in a relationship, it was like no fly zone, right?
Sure,
that was not okay.
Remember the will you go out with me, yes or no, with the little check boxes?
Cute. I remember the like little paper things that they would do on the buses that like, would you... Yeah, it's a whole thing. So anyways.
I flip it open. You are a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day.
Cute.
Okay, so anyways.
Yeah, the ones that people at my school built were a little bit more aggressive. Like, choose, is it a house, a baby first, or this? Like, whoa, that's a little too serious for me at like 10 years old.
10 years old. Yeah, you'd play house.
College, maybe?
Yeah.
Study, books, research. I don't know, change the
I
world.
Did the same,
why was that not on it?
I actually had that same thing, except I was a senior in college. I'm kidding. I'm joking. We're having fun on this one. All right, squad. So we're being immature to demonstrate. No.
Quite literally.
So this is the three things that we have written down. The difference between a childish and an adult relationship is, number one, an adult relationship focuses on the long term.
Yeah.
I remember when I met you 6 years ago, I said, this one is the one. I'm doing this one right. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to lie to her. I'm never going to do anything distrustful. I'm going to play the long game. Mm-hmm. I know that's been frustrating at times, but I wanted to do this right from the very beginning. And I knew from the moment I met you that this was a very adult relationship. This was not the hab dance, we're going to share you, Brittany and Clarissa, right? Mm-hmm. And so I focused on the long term right out of the gate. And I think that that's the first indicator of a serious relationship. I'm actually coaching a young man, I'm so old now. This is wild. He's 26. It's not that young. Yeah, and he just met this awesome girl. And I said, brother, you never know. So play the long game.
Play the long game.
Play the long game.
Why that? Why that? Play the long game, as your guidance says, this wise man that you are now.
Because you can't guarantee that it's your person. But if it is, you want to do it right.
For sure.
So it's just really important.
Yeah.
Number two is serious conversations. Like, think about, I don't know, a couple that they can't talk about anything serious without making it a giant joke.
What comes to mind when you think about that?
Romantic comedies.
I meant more so topics.
Money.
Okay, great.
having children,
Yep.
buying a home,
Yep.
debt,
Yep.
finances,
Yep.
career, earning potential. All of those.
Philosophy is what I would add to
Yeah.
that. Philosophies of life.
Dreams, goals.
Dreams, goals, politics is a big one, right?
Basically,
because that's a combination of your values, philosophy, moralities, life ethics, values, et cetera, et cetera.
AKA this podcast.
Yeah.
Everything we talk about on this podcast.
We have a worksheet of the 25 Conscious Couples Love Languages worksheet, which I'll link. I'll have the production team link in the show notes. All of those, right? Those are needs that are built up into cup fillers that are values. And one of them is
trauma.
Yeah. One of them is also sexual intimacy. And that's a really serious topic that when you are a mature adult, quote unquote, you can have conversations about, and it's not taboo, and you're not childish when you talk about it.
Sorry to interrupt you, but this is important. I said this in book club. I have a lot of amazing empowered women in a lot of the communities that I coach and facilitate, book club included. And I said at one point, if you can't talk about your cycle around your partner, that's a bad thing.
Alan means menstrual cycle for anyone that's tuning in and saying, what does he mean?
Well, so early in you and I's relationship, you had me pick up tampons.
Yeah.
And it was a lot to figure out. And I grew up with two women, so I was thinking, why didn't I know?
Yeah.
And they never really talked about their period.
Yep.
And you said that women aren't supposed to, quote unquote, or whatever, talk about their menstrual
bodily
cycle.
natural functions that everyone benefits from.
And I said something along the lines of why? Like, that's ridiculous. So I think that's another thing too. And I said this in book club to all the women in book club. I said, ladies, stop protecting your man-child. Like, you need, like, if he can't handle talking about your period, you should leave him.
Facts.
And okay, nice. So at the end of the day, your partner will only grow as much as you challenge them to grow. I'm not saying to be toxic or disrespectful, but at the end of the day, imagine
into growth.
That's what I mean. But at the end of the day, you can't just invite. You have to. I don't know. Imagine a teacher who lets everyone off the hook all the time.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference between inviting and challenging, and I think the level of seriousness increases on that spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think that starting at an invitation is really important, but then if it's not being taken seriously because you have a partner, let's say, for example, who's dodging a conversation about menstrual cycles,
well, can you share?
Increase the challenge, increase the maybe aggression or accountability.
Seriousness,
accountability. Yeah.
So can you share a story anonymously? You don't have to share the details of who, but have you been around men where they wouldn't let you talk about your period or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a very much from a young age. As a quote unquote female gendered girl, you are not meant to talk about that stuff with boys.
Why?
Because number one, boys think it's gross, and therefore you get socialized to also think it's gross, and that it's something that is not normal or not healthy. It's wild, the brainwashing underneath that. So you learn over time, and then on top of that,
it's actually completely
at
normal.
School, right? You also learn that at home as well, because the way in which it is either talked about or conveniently omitted or talked about behind the scenes away from men or away from your brothers, their reactions to anything like that, like, ew, that quote unquote immaturity, while it might start off as like cute.
And then eventually it
never ends up getting handled, or the father or the mother or the grandparents or whomever are the caregivers, the way in which they respond to that, if they allow that to be tolerated in the household, that is an unconscious learning that happens in the household, that if my brother or if my dad doesn't talk about this stuff, then that is things that I shouldn't talk about. So it's in the household, it's in, the school buses, it's in the school systems, the friend groups, all that stuff. And when you talk about, I remember gym class, right? Gym class, it was really big and really like hush hush around social groups as you started to talk about anything that had to do with like hygiene, health, sex, socializing around puberty. I remember that was like a really big, oh my goodness, we're going to start to talk about puberty now in health class. And because of how immature everyone was about it. And then how, as a reactive measure, gym teachers would have to be to kind of like stop the immaturity. It was this thing that couldn't be talked in like a regulated, calm, normalizing manner. So it was either extremely taboo and you had to talk about it in secret, and that was like kind of that thing that you would do, or there would be someone that's like overtly immature. So there was no 5 in that. Okay. So,
well, this is just a tangible example. Like if you are out there watching or listening and your counterpart can't talk about any of these things, that would be a red flag.
Can't, won't, avoids.
Always makes a joke.
Like doesn't go near it at all. Doesn't want to go near it. If you try to like bring them to the table of conversation, always makes a joke.
Mm-hmm. There's a difference between being playful to be fun, versus being a clown to try to avoid anything uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't want to dance around it. I do think that you need to know when it's time to be serious and when it's time to be fun. Like at the beginning of this episode, we were fun, and then it was time to get serious and talk about the fucking important topics.
Exactly.
You know, and you need both.
You gotta have fun.
So the last one is invest in the relationship. So adult relationships, invest in the relationship. Shout out actually to Christina, my COO, my company. She just referred us to new relationship talks coaching clients.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. And this is just one example of investing in your relationship. And what's another example of that? Investing in each other's dreams, investing in a therapist, investing in a relationship talks coaching session, investing in the stock market, investing in your retirement, investing in your own future, investing in training programs, investing in time and effort into... I remember when I was in a relationship years ago, before you, I would take, no joke, relationship seminars to try to figure out what the hell was going wrong. Yeah, I was studying communication with myself and others, personal development. And I remember as I got better and better and better, the relationship got worse. And eventually I was like, why is this happening? And I now realize why. But if you're not investing in yourself and your own growth, I would say that's also a red flag.
I want to add to this number 3 component of how to tell where your relationship is and the maturity level. And if you have an adult relationship or you're still kind of stuck in that immature mindset, I'm going to expand the scope a little bit of what you just said and add to it. The way in which my brain kind of was thinking about that, you absolutely covered the foundations.
Personal development.
One of the things, absolutely. And one of the things that I think is slipping through our hands like quicksand now more than ever is actual quality time. And I know we had talked about this in terms of more so distribution of capital, like reinvesting, which is so important, time, energy, and money, if we categorize it in that.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pathologize or kind of make technology the quote unquote bad guy, if you will. But what I do see, and how often do we all see when couples are spending time together, it's just for a movie, or they're spending time together and they're always on their devices.
Usually Netflix series these days.
Netflix series,
or on devices, or
on their devices,
or something like that.
And they're not each other's primary focus. So you and I have a thing that we have engineered into our day-to-day rhythm, which is called no stim nights, which is literally you and I are each other's primary focus. And there's no devices, there's nothing. It's literally just low light. You and I hang out with each other, investing quality time into the relationship. That is such a seemingly duh, but adult relationships know that is, without that is so wildly, you're missing the point of why you two are together, because you don't create that space for you two to reinvest and learn each other as you two evolve and grow, which, if you're listening to the show, is inherently happening.
So you and I, after we close the store, metaphorically, we shut down work, and then we have a transition period where we have been sitting at the dining room table together and doing our supplements. And it's been just us.
Just us.
It's been really nice. Yeah, and we have a deep conversation. What I wanted to share was what?
I don't know, but I have another dimension of how I was thinking of that. So,
quality time. Oh, a lot of people, if they see the amount of time they're spending together, they're cooking, or they're doing a project for the house, or they're watching Netflix, or so the primary focus piece isn't each other. Yeah, you're in parallel instead of...
That's called secondary focus, right?
Yeah.
Which I love that you added in there, because that dovetails right into what I was saying in terms of expanding the focus. A lot of couples will invest a lot of money and capital into experiences together, which we know with our work with relationship talks coaching clients, that's a big quote unquote bucket for many couples, right? They want to go out to eat to dinner. They want to go travel. They want to go to a show. Like, there's so many different types of quote unquote experiences. And that is a huge level of investment. But what we found with immature relationships and immature couples is that they are not trying to stack the wins of that investment of whatever experience it is, be it travel, be it a dinner, be it a comedy show, like whatever that is. They're not as strategic as an adult relationship would be on that one investment. So here's $200 we have, and we've budgeted that in to make sure that we have a great experience. An immature relationship will not have any consideration or serious dialogue around what are the highest leverage points that we can hit in terms of what is the most fun based on our unique footprint of us as a couple, what we've been feeling like we've been lacking lately, or how do we need to loosen up, or whatever it is. That's a serious conversation. And immature relationships do not do that. And therefore they can't capitalize on their $200 a night for whatever it is that they choose to do. So
what would be a good example of that?
So an example of immature adult.
We got to jump here, so I'll be brief with this, but... And I don't want to villainize any one thing, but I remember I had an ex who would bring me to, like, her and all her friends would go out at these rooftop bars. And I remember thinking to myself, like, this was fun in college.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. I want to be done with this. And so if you're doing the same thing in your 30s as you were in your 20s, you probably need to reflect. And vice versa, the same thing in your 20s as your teens. Like, you're supposed to evolve.
Yeah.
They say maturity comes with age. Sometimes age comes alone. But you and I have on the whiteboard downstairs right now, we want to invest 8 hours on Sunday, just us.
Just us.
And that's a lot. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, we need to provide context because we don't mean that like...
It's a lot.
Yeah, I don't want to spend... It's not that I don't want to spend... Emilia and I are extremely productive, and for us to take 8 hours just with each other is us really allocating that time and investing that time very strategically. And I think that that's the last point I'll make is...
It's also really difficult because we run 3 businesses between the two of us. We have teams that we need to make sure that are set up for the week. We have a whole household. We have our fur babies. Like, there's so much to do. And
I have another one.
Yeah, go.
You and I have been using a calendar since we met. An adult relationship, a mature relationship, is very effective and strategic with their time.
Systems and tools.
Yeah, systems, tools, and calendar. Like, we plan, and this is more a testament to you, because when we first got together, you wanted to sit down and align our calendars.
I have that image coming to mind when we were eating breakfast.
Yes. And I was like, okay, let's do this thing. You are an intense calendar person, which is great. But ultimately, toddlers wing it. Children wing it. They just run outside and they just start playing in the woods. Listen, you can do that if you want, but as an adult, you're going to have to plan and prepare for the future. Yeah. And so again, long-term relationship focus, serious conversations, and invest in the future and in the relationship. And the last little bonus would be strategic with your time. You and I are allocating that time on Sunday. I'm super excited for it.
Me too.
Last Sunday, I was so excited to go on our walk together. We plan and prepare for these things. And yeah, we can have some spontaneity as well within those things, but it's not like you and I can just be like, hey, let's just take the next 3 weeks off. Let's dip. Let's just start driving. That's not what adults do. And I don't mean to be mean, But you can't really have an effective, conscientious, successful life and relationship and do that. So if you want to build a strong foundation, and so the last thing I'll say is you are here to improve your relationship from the inside out. I'm going to start and end every episode with that, and I hope we helped you do that today.
Absolutely. So if you have listened to this and you're picking up on those 3 and then the bonus one that we gave at the end and you're realizing like, oh, we need to reel it in, no shame in that game. We're glad that you're naming that, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you and your partner grow together, not apart, because if we're not reeling those things in and recognizing where we're immature in our relationship, you two are going to grow apart. We've seen it time and time again. And at the end of the day, there's one partner that essentially gets fed up with the immaturity in the relationship and either wants to leave, or something ends up happening that is not so wonderful. And we don't want that happening to you. And say you're the couple that's listening to this and you go through these 3 things and you're like, oh my gosh, we're crushing it on that. Like, yes, pat on the back, that's huge. And I'm going to invite you as a conscious couple to spread the word about this. Like, spread the word with what you guys are doing and what, as a conscious couple, the systems that you have in place to be that quote unquote adult relationship in a world of so many intimate relationships that are wildly immature. And we haven't even gotten into digital monogamy and so many different things. Anyways, another episode. I think that a world that has more adult relationships would actually contribute to, should any of those couples have kids, a better, more hopeful world with less trauma.
So we have an event coming up?
We have an event coming up that is related to how to get on the same page about failing forward. Mm-hmm. This is on February 19th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. One couple will have a fail forward mentality, another won't, and another will be really
upset.
One partner,
you mean?
Yeah.
One partner.
One partner.
Yeah, so very rarely, so I call this ambition and conflict. A lot of times one partner has more of a fixed mindset when it comes to failure, and they don't take big shots, and they basically hold back the relationship. And sometimes it's a butterfly dating a caterpillar. It is what it is. The caterpillar needs to grow. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to help you do that. We have had people literally on the brink of divorce that are now flourishing beyond their wildest dreams in so many regards, health, wealth, and love. So if you want relationship talks coaching, the first one is free to see if we're a good fit, 30 minutes. The link will be in the show notes. Also, you plugged the PDF of the Conscious Couples Love Languages. Yeah,
that will also be, the worksheet will be linked in the show notes as well.
Top 25 Conscious Love Languages. At very least, download that. Do that worksheet, and you'll have a very good idea of how to sort of stack those love languages so that you grow together, not apart. As always, it's not about you or me. It's about the we. We will talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Conscious Couples podcast. We love connecting with the Conscious Couples community, so please check the show notes to connect with us and say hello on social media.
If you and your partner resonated with this episode, please leave us a 5-star review at the link in the show notes and share this with someone you love. Until next time, it's not about you or me, it's about the we. We'll talk to you next time.